Hey everybody, this is the Mud Guy, and I want to give you an overview of the SCX10 as it sits now. I'm still not finished with this RC yet. I have a lot more plans, and there's a lot more to come on it, but I know some guys have commented that they wanted to see more of the build, and I originally did start taking pictures of it. I was thinking of doing some kind of slideshow about the progress of the SCX10, but because of how I built this car, pieces came in here and there, and it was a lot of start and stop and a lot of start and stop, so any kind of build series really wouldn't have made sense, and I've changed some things since then, but I'd like to show it to you as it sits now. First off, we'll talk about the body. I went with the Proline Ford Bronco body, the one with the roll cage, and I really like this body. It's nostalgic for me because I had a buddy, when I was growing up, I had a buddy that actually had one of them, had one of these, this style Bronco, and it brings back a lot of memories. So I'm going to stick with this body, but I'm going to probably do up another one. I made some mistakes in this body. Originally I had it mounted too far forward. Now I think it might be a little bit back too far, and it all has to do with this bumper up here. This bumper to me kind of dictates how the rest of the body is going to line up. That and the wheel wells, but as you can see now, I added these Dingo fender flares, and you have a whole lot of room in here to play with. You know, so it's one of those things. I think the next body I'll nail it perfectly. But for now, this is what I'm going with. This is going to be to get me through. I have a whole mess of trail runs coming up, so I just needed something for the time being. So this is a good trial run, but I am going to do another body. I think it's still sitting a little bit too high, but once again, it's because of the bumper. I have to play around. I have a rock armor bumper on here with a 3 Racing Winch. We'll get to that in a second, but that's kind of dictating how I set up the body. Anyway, so we'll go inside and I'll show you some of the components that I used. Starting from front to back here, like I said earlier, we have a rock armor bumper here with a 3 Racing Winch mounted to it. This is not going to be my permanent setup for a winch, but I got this great idea. I want to do a special thank you to Craig Schofield. He gave me this idea where go ahead and use your scale-looking 3 Racing Winch, but in the future when you want to run a servo winch, you kind of use this as like a glorified Fairlead. So I'm going to use this winch here until it burns out on me, and then I'm going to go with a servo winch. I haven't picked one out yet because it's one of these things I really need to think about. I'm probably going to mount it here. I have one of these Jevne, J-E-V-N-E, I think it's called, pronounced Jevne Racing battery mount. And what it does is it relocates your battery back here, pretty much, you know, in between your wheels and your transmission, and it gives you all this room up top here for any kind of winch or electronics or anything you might want to mount up front here. And this thing almost worked perfectly. I did do a little bit of modification. My battery is actually 2 millimeters too wide for this battery tray, so I had to cut off the one end, but I added some Velcro tabs. I don't think anything's going to happen to my battery, and I had to Dremel out a little notch here for my MIP Driveshaft. Then, like I said, I'm using MIP Driveshafts and a SuperShafty transmission, mostly SuperShafty. I did switch out the bearings for something that I prefer. I use a stainless ceramic bearing. So we have the amazing Pig. She's decided to join in on the fun today. I don't think I'm going to do any more videos without her, just because every time she hears me talking to a camera, she has to come check it out. So she's going to join in, and we're going to continue talking about the SCX10. So we have a SuperShafty transmission with ceramic and stainless bearings. The original one I had came with these big giant 6mm outputs, and I actually had to give them up for the hot racing one-piece gear, so I could get these MIPs, that the angle different, so I could use my forward mounted battery plate. So yeah, that was kind of a sacrifice, but I think in the end it should be okay. It looks dinky compared to the 6mm outputs, but it's just something that I needed my angle to go underneath this battery tray, and it wasn't going to work any other way. Using the ROC 412 2300 kV motor, which has been working great for me. I love it. My first brushless crawler, and I'm digging it. So run by a Tekin RX8 Gen2 ESC, this was kind of I like this ESC. It's like the brain of the car. I can do things from changing my BEC voltage. I can use any kind of motor I'd ever want in the future. It's got a nice little, well, I don't have the fan attached right now, but it does have a feature for fan. The thing I like the best is the port to talk to my hot wire is easily accessible. I just have to plug it in right here in the back. and I can I switch around all my settings and everything like that really easy. So that's why I'm going with the RX8. And from the electronics on down, I'm using the Vanquish titanium links connected to Vanquish Curry axles. I'm using SuperShafty super spools in there with heavy duty axial gears, the beveled ones. I have an axial universal up front. In the back, I just have the regular straight shaft that comes with the SCX10. For tires, we have the 1.9 Pitbull Madbeast with Crawler Innovations foam. I'm using the Deuces Wild. It's a stiffer closed cell foam, better for trails. Not as great for crawling, but these are sticky compounds, so it still does pretty good as far as I've tried it out so far. Mounted to Gearhead RC wheels. I had to use a little bit bigger offset than the ones they came with. I'm using the 0.250 offsets because the ones that came stock, it was a little bit too close and it rubbed up against. I have using Vanquish knuckles and C-hubs, and it was just too tight. There was too much rub there, so I actually had to spend a little bit more money, but still, great deal on the Gearhead wheels. They come in about 100 less than Vanquish. And they look great. I got a nice little black ring on here. It's supposed to be like a King of Hammers look. I think it's cool. And that's it for the tires and the wheels. I'm trying to think what else I skipped out on. The original axial parts I got from Dollar Hobbies. I didn't spend a lot there. There's not much on here that's axial. For a servo, I'm using a waterproof, I always forget the number, 1210 waterproof Savox servo. Great, I love it. This is the same one I used in my Wraith with a Robotronic servo horn. Like I said, I'm using a 308 Racing Winch now. I'd like to go to a servo winch in the future, but I'm still going to keep this up front here as kind of a glorified Fairlead. So I still have that scale appearance of a 3 Racing Winch. And it works. I mean, and I had some people that say, hey, 3 Racing's great, but from everything I've read, you're going to want to go to a servo winch eventually for recovery. And that's how I am going to go. I don't know if I'm going to replace the sliders. These actually are not that bad, and they kind of match the roll cage and the fender flares as far as that type of black plastic look. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, shocks. These are the Proline. These are the scalar shocks, not the big Powerstrokes for the Slash. Yeah, all stainless hardware. So I mean, this is something I've dreamed up in my head ever since I got rid of the Wraith, and yeah, I mean, it's the way I wanted to build it. It's not cheap, but this is it. This is one-time build. I'm still adding some stuff on. We're gonna do LEDs, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that on this body or the next body. I'm looking forward to driving in the future. So that's pretty much the end of this video. For the Mud Guy RC, I'm the Mud Guy. You're the amazing Peg, and we'll see you later.
Bye.